Okay. You mentioned how hungry the contestants are out there. Last night, we saw that it's become a big part of the show, I guess, now, where that Jeff, once again, is going to tempt the survivors. He sets this up that they've built a whole segment out of the show, Angelina. Another thing that we have to say, this is the Angelina effect.
You give me too much credit, Rob. Too much credit.
No, everybody's thinking it. Everybody's so excited that you were going to be on the podcast this week. After
I got my royalty check in the mail this week, actually.
Yes, they built this into the show of, okay, can we get the players to sit out of the challenge to eat rice, which you started.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your question though?
First off, what does it feel like to have that sort of like be built into the show first before we talk about the specifics?
Yes, I think it's a fun addition. I think it makes for, obviously I love negotiations personally. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that. I think it's cool that it's added in. I think it makes for more interesting television to have the rice be something that's not given, right? And then that's kind of the whole theme of the 40s plus now is like nothing's given, it's everything's earned. And so I think the rice bartering fits well into that theme. I think a couple things. I think negotiations with Jeff are more exciting and interesting when it's not baked into the show, like when it's something that's initiated by a player. And I don't know Survivor history as well as some people do, but I know there's been a few other instances of people like asking for something like a tarp or something else, that they need from Jeff. So there have been a couple instances of like player initiated negotiation. I think it's more fascinating when it's player initiated rather than Jeff initiated. But I think either way, it's all positive. Like it's fun to watch, you know what I mean? And it's fun to see how it's evolving and see how the players react.
So now that the shoe is on the other foot and you're able to sort of sit back and watch these negotiations, first off, how do you rate Jeff as a negotiator?
Based off of 42 or just in general?
I guess in general, but because you famously came out with what Jeff described as a low ball offer.
Yes.
Jeff, I feel like, comes out with a high ball offer to the contestants, but then immediately backs off of that high ball offer.
It seemed pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know if that was like jump in the editing, but it seemed like he backed down pretty quick. Here's my thing with the way that the negotiation is set up with Jeff. In real life negotiations, in normal negotiations, both parties have skin in the game, right? You're buying a house, for example. The person who has a house wants to get the most money they can for their house. The person buying the house wants to get it for the lowest possible amount that they can. And if you can find some sort of, range where both parties agree on, cool, but both have skin in the game. The issue with negotiating with Jeff is his life doesn't change a centimeter.
Famously, he said, my life is fine when he was negotiating with Drew Christie.
100%. The only incentive, because I've thought about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
The only incentive Jeff has is for it to be good for his show.
Yes.
For it to be good for his viewers. He's not any different. His belly's not any different. His life's not any different. He's not more rich or poor because of the negotiations he has with the players, right? The only thing he wants is it for to be good TV. And so it's hard because it's a very lopsided negotiation when it's players versus Jeff, right? And I knew that going into my negotiation with him, where it's like, I wanted to balance, like, I didn't want to piss him off because I didn't want us to have any sort of punishment from it, right? Because he has control over us. But I also wanted him to enjoy it. So I wanted to make it like enjoyable and good TV for him so that we'd get what we'd wanted. Right. So that was kind of my mindset going in with Jeff. I think because of that setup, it's hard for me to judge how good of a negotiator he is because, like I said, he has no true skin in the game.
Right.
I mean, he's a smart guy. He knows what's up. And he's not a pushover, right? Like he's a strong personality. He's got an ego and he doesn't want to be like, oh, oh yeah, whatever you guys want. Like he wants it to seem like he's the monster, right? He wants to
The
be
monster's hungry.
The monster thing kills me, by the way. Like I hate the monster thing. It's so weird.
That based on what Jeff was saying, that when he talks about like, well, maybe the monster was going to be more hungry next season. Is Jeff the monster? That it makes it sound like is the monster his alter ego?
I think it feels like borderline pillow talk to me. It's kind of like, what? This is a family show, Jeff. Like, what are we talking about? The monster?
Oh
like,
my God,
come on, Jeff. This is PG televition.
Yeah,
it feels a little risque. Does it not? Do you not get that vibe? You do like a thing on your face.
I don't know.
I don't know. Watching for everyone who's not watching the video.
It's just so interesting that like he seems really like he really wants people to sit out of this challenge for the rice. Like if he said the monster is hungry, if he says, hey, it's 6, take it or leave it, I don't care. Like I'll be in the challenge. I don't care if you don't get any rice. It's like I feel like he really wants to give them the rice. It seems like.
I think he knows they need the rice, right?
He
knows
like I think he
knows these people are, they need to be able to stand up and do a challenge without fainting, right? So he knows, and that's actually good information for future players. He knows you need to eat or else you can't compete on his show, right? So maybe that's part of the skin in the game is the health of the players.
But I feel like that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that was your ace in the hole in your negotiation with Jeff that you must have known. Like I have to think that the Survivor players at that point in time said, hey, we're big portions. Like they're not going to let us die. Like let's eat the rice. They're going to give us more, right? Was that not in the back of people's minds?
It was never spoken. I will say that, but it was in the back of my mind, right? It's like they don't want us to be dysfunctional. They don't want us to literally be collapsing because then what do they have? They don't have any characters, And so, I definitely kept that in mind. And like I said, I think future players should keep that in mind. I would have liked, I thought the players, I don't know why they started at 2. First of all, I don't know why their starting offer was 2 when anyone who watched the show knows that we got it for 1.
Right.
And
what did Jeff start at? Did Jeff start at 9? Yeah.
He started at 9. Which of course he started. If you start at 9, I'm gonna start at a half. I'll give you my leg.
2 people in the challenge.
You know, half a person, Jeff. You get half. I'm gonna do my lower half will do the challenge. My other half will sit out.
Yeah. It's just so wild that they like bake it into like that it's that it's a negotiation. Like we're gonna negotiate with the players for the rice.
Institutionalized now, which is fun. I mean, it's like the auction's gone. Now we have the rice negotiation. This is the new age Survivor. But I think the players should push it in the future. I don't think 4 is his bottom. I think that Jeff will go lower. So I hope future seasons will push him. I think they can get 2. I think they can get 2 people for the rice.